Jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. Welcome, everybody, to PBJamz. Music and picture books, what a perfect sandwich. Squish them all together, what a yummy snack. PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz, what a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz, songish books and bookish songs. Tips for music teachers, interviews and book reviews. A little singing and dancing. PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz, what a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz.
So good. So good.
There was another good book by Jolene that I really liked.
There
It just
is.
inspired me. But I wasn't sure how to write about guinea pigs. And I was just like, oh, I don't know a lot about guinea pigs. How am I going to write this? And then I thought, deconstruct it. What's the larger message? And then I realized that if we wrote it with a larger message, not just for Jolene's book, and I talked to her about it, I said, how do you feel about writing a song that has to do with the subject of your book, but also covers other social emotional learning issues, and that way other authors could use it, or other teachers. So Jolene wrote a narrowly broad or broadly narrow lyrics, and terrific. And that was when I found out that she had a really good sense of humor.
We had a lot of fun, right? And you started the lyrics. I mean, you are brilliant. You came to me with this idea and wanting to do this. And I think you're always thinking of the kidlit community in a broader way. Like, how can we serve the most people? How can we be most helpful to the largest audience? And so I appreciate that so much.
Well, thank you for being one of the 7 people that do. I really appreciate it. If you could talk to the other thousands and let them know that they are missing out on a wonderful application. There are so many things that you can do with a song. I mean, besides just book trailers. When I first started doing it, I thought, oh, I'll do it for book trailers. But I really missed writing songs for classroom. So when I started doing the call and repeat songs, that's when I realized there really was a place for songs and kidlit. And I think the things that I struggle with is everything seems so song-worthy, but then you have to look at it and say, well, is this topic large enough that there might be other books, other songs? And so, like, you know, some of the books that are coming out about people we've never heard about that are finally getting their due, they totally deserve songs. But I feel like it should not be about them. It should be about like a list of overlooked people. Just, you know, did you know that so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so were involved in the civil rights movement? A lot of people didn't. So I kind of want to approach it that way. And also I have discovered that my strength is nonfiction. It had to be because I was always writing about school-based topics when I was working in a school. So that it was perfect, you know, for Mac and Cheese. It was perfect doing a Space Invader song, because personal space, sensory integration disorder, is so prevalent in so many children. And I thought it was a great way to get a message across without being naggy, as I say.
Yeah,
which I do a lot of nagging.
It's such a positive bent to that song. Like, it's not about stay out of my space, but it's about creating enough space for everybody. And, you know, so it's a really positive way of directing that message. And I think you're right, Annie, that, you know, making those messages as broad as possible allows it, like Jolene was saying, to go out to a broader audience and to be more applicable really to everybody, so that more people can use it. and you're still getting at that idea of writing to these new books in Kid Lit, but it's just a broader application so that the message is going out farther and wider. Yeah.
And it's easier to use now, especially when you do things like call and repeat. I find myself writing them a lot because I realize that whoever I'm going to be singing this to has never heard it before.
Right.
And I used to assign songs and I'd say, go home and listen to them, watch the music video, learn the words. And then when you come in, you'll really be ready to start singing and we can start working on the song. But a lot of times, if you're just going to a school and you haven't met the children
Right.
yet, you want a way to interact with them, to warm them up. And singing a funny song that's a call and repeat song is a really great way to do it. And it also has ties to literacy,
Right.
literacy games, calling and listening and repeating back what you heard. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I'm hoping that Jolene and I will be able to write several more SEL songs. And then she can take them and try them out as a pilot at her school like she did with Space Creator.
Love that. Love those working togethers that just keep on going. Those are super fun. I love that.
I
Jolene-
did like, oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say one thing I really did like about Jolene right away was I noticed that she phrased stuff in the positive, not the negative. She's probably like the kind of teacher and mom that catches kids in the act of doing something good rather than more bad. So when she was talking in positive terms of what to do, I just thought that really went with what I wanted to do as far as being positive, because I've been told by my child that I'm a bit naggy. No comments. I've been told, they're listening. I've been told I'm a bit naggy. So I wanted it to be less naggy. So I thought, well, I want to start out giving compliments. I think you're very nice. And I know we've got a lot in common, but there's one thing you have to know about me. So you're putting it kind of on yourself. It's not you, even if it is you, it's me. So I enjoyed writing positive, and I generally try to do that. I will start out with the problem, but I try to get right off the problem and get right into the solutions and keep it on the positive. So
Yeah.
it was nice to find somebody positive, like the two of you.
Yeah, we try, right?
We try.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Some days you guys are my sunshine.
Oh, likewise.
Yeah, that feeling is mutual. That's what I started to say. Yeah. So Jolene, talk a little bit about how the song connects with the book and tell us a little bit. So for the folks that are tuning into PBJamz and have not read your book yet, tell us just a little bit about Mac and Cheese.
I'm grabbing a copy off my shelf.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is Mac and Cheese and the Personal Space Invader. And yeah, I loved, Annie, that you said, instead of talking about space invaders, can we flip it? Can we be positive? Can we talk about being space creators? And I loved flipping that and going for the positive. So this is Oliver. And all he wants is to be a good friend. He just doesn't know how to do that. And their class pets, Mac and Cheese, are always snuggling and cuddling with each other. And when his teacher, Miss Lopez, I'm going to try to show you Miss Lopez, points that out, here's Miss Lopez, and says, look at Mac and Cheese. They are the best of friends. Oliver thinks, oh, now I know how to be a good friend. And so he tries the guinea pig moves on his classmates. He tries like nuzzling and snuggling with them, and they do not like that. So Oliver, there's a little intervention where Miss Lopez says, hey, I'm noticing that you are getting a little close to people. What's going on? And she teaches him about personal space and that for humans, it's different. Humans aren't guinea pigs, Oliver. They need some personal space about the size of a hula hoop around them, usually to feel comfortable. So he implements that. And our song definitely talks about, space bubbles, and we do some movements when we do the song. But it's definitely a song. Oliver is never mentioned. The guinea pigs, as cute as they are never mentioned. And these are illustrated by the amazing Heather Bell.
You did an
But
amazing job. It just like won your heart. Not that your words weren't cute, but those were killer
Yeah.
pictures.
no, it's mac
illustrations.
and cheese all the way for sure. Like when I'm doing presentations, it's these little guys that catch people's eyes for sure. They're adorable. Yeah, it's all Heather. But the song totally stands on its own. You can use it in conjunction with this book or any of the other amazing personal space, social skills, friendshipy kinds of books that exist out there, or just alone when you're teaching this personal space lesson that is so important, especially these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It was very timely when it came out. It was just that the timing was absolutely perfect. You couldn't have planned that really any better, because it was super, and it's still important. But I mean, at the time when it first came out, it was extremely important, and it was such a good way. I mean, I used it in my classroom with my students, to talk about the importance all the time of creating space and not getting in people's personal, space bubbles. We had a young man who lived with us for about 3 years. I think I told Jolene this story, but he was one of my former students. And so I had him when he was like 8, and he was always like, he has no bubble, like zero bubble. Like, I mean, like his body is his bubble. And even that probably would be okay if you could figure out. I mean, he just wouldn't care. But my husband has a very big bubble. Even with me, like he's just one of these people that has a much bigger and so when Andrew was living here with us for a few years, like that was just really challenging for the two of them. Like they had to kind of have some conversations, and I had to have some conversations that said, it's not that he doesn't love you, like he loves you, but he just has a bigger space bubble than you do. And so y'all are going to have to find a way to compromise. You're going to have to give him a little more room than you need. And, maybe he'll kind of meet you in the middle a little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good message. Important. Yeah. So you guys talked a little bit about working together. Is there anything else that you would like to what was the actual process like? So I know Annie and I worked on the
I won, Jolene. I
won. Annie.
Oh, that's right. You guys were paired up with a contest. That's right.
Yes. Thank
So
you
talk
very
about
much.
that. How did that work?
Fall writing frenzy. Maybe you can explain
Okay.
fall writing frenzy.
And well, so it's one of the many writing contests, and I have to credit writing contests like Fall Writing Frenzy, Spring Fling,
Caitlin and Lydia,
yeah, Story Storm, 50 Precious Words. I'm probably forgetting things because that's how my brain works. But
Story Storm. This was a Story Storm. This was one of our Story Storm projects, Jolene and I for Story Storm 21.
Love it. So yeah, for the Fall Writing Frenzy, I had entered, and Annie had donated her songwriting services. So I really won. I won. You were being generous and you donated your time and your efforts, because she works so hard and she puts so much into these songs. This is not an easy thing that she does at all.
Long hours, but lots of little spurts. You go for like 3 hours, then you stop, then you go another 3 hours, then you stop. And so just, long spurts.
It's a lot.
So, and Annie came to
me. But I don't work as hard as you guys. Anybody who works with children, I am not worthy. I just want to say that I've been out of the classroom for 10 years now. And other than working with children, teaching them voice in the studio now and dropping by a couple schools before the pandemic. You guys, thank you so much for what you do, for being the constant in children's lives during, not just during the pandemic, but during everything. You see kids more than their own parents, and their whole development depends on you. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and to all the teachers who are out there doing it daily, nightly, and spending all their money. Don't spend all your money. I have a bunch of free songs for you. Don't spend your money.
That's right. We're going to link those up in the giveaway too. So y'all make sure you take advantage of Annie's music. So much good stuff out there.
Yes.
Jolene and I decided that we at first we were going to license it, but we decided, you know what? Teachers really need this. Everybody needs this. And it's not even just for like special ed or
Right.
it's all children should be taught socialization skills. And what better way than a fun song? So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Jolene, go back to what you were talking about with Fall Frenzy and getting paired up. So once you got paired up with Annie, so you wrote the lyrics.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't fully write the lyrics. Annie came to me. She brought.
I wrote the first verse. That was
she's
it.
So kind. You're always shining the spotlight on other people.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to, because I write that first verse every time. It comes out of the gate like that. And then I'm like, verse 2, 3, and 4. Oh no. And you killed it. That's my agent, by the way. They'll wait.
No, but that's just like, novel writing or picture book writing. We get the beginning, or we get one little chunk, and then, there's the rest of it to do.
Yes.
There's a lot of overlap, I find. And the reason that I really like working with authors is because I'm actually learning to be a much better writer, to care about the words I'm using. Because I was writing a lot of educational songs, I had facts that I had to get in, and I didn't really have to write the words. I had to wrap music around it. So I like writing better, and I'm learning a lot from authors. I recently wrote a song where I had to write from someone else's perspective, and that's like, you guys do that all the time, but me, I write a song, it's from my perspective, and I enjoy the process of learning how to write, and especially learning from kidlit authors. So I want to also say thank you to all the authors who've been so supportive of my.
Well, I have to thank Annie for being supportive and patient with me as I learned how to try to write a little bit to the music. But she created all the music. She kind of gave me a framework. She gave me some of those lyrics. We brainstormed topics. What do we want to include? We want to talk about, consent and permission to touch. We want to talk about people who get too close, and those like the close talkers who are talking in your face. And that's where we added some humor with you're breathing in my face.
You're breathing in my face.
That part always gets laughs from the kids. They love that part.
Yeah.
And I actually I'm a real instigator, but I was kind of like imagining kids. I know you're trying to keep them apart and not annoy each other, but in my warped brain, I was thinking they're going to go, "You're breathing in my face" to each other, and they'd all laugh, and it would just be hysterical, and only the teachers would be annoyed. Sorry.
No, but that's part of exploring your space bubbles. And pre-COVID, when we were kind of creating all of this, that was still very, very possible. Like, it wasn't out of the ordinary for kids to get in each other's faces like that frequently. And we're coming back to what normal is for us. But yeah, we discussed what we wanted to include and how we wanted to address that. And then I tried to find rhyming words, which rhyming is not. I have a couple yet to be announced books coming out that are in rhyme. So I have written in rhyme. Thank you. I have written in rhyme, but I'm not, it's still not something that I really want to claim to be able to do, because it's such a challenge. I think certain things demand it. And music, it is something that flows really well with most songs. So
I have to tell you something. 3 people have already told me, you get away with so much as a songwriter when you're rhyming. You can just change the way you say it, or say it a little bit differently, or there's only one letter that rhymes with the other word, and you'd never get away with it in a book, but in a song, it's fantastic. So, haha.
Yeah, and you told me that and gave me permission to, you were like, it's easier. We just sing it and we make it sound pretty and it'll fit. Don't worry about it. And that was so freeing because I was really stressed. I was like, how do I do this? So you definitely gave me skills and permission that allowed me to really explore that. And I think it fed into my writing, just like your music is flowing with the writing. Mine is like your music and the skills you taught me helped me as a writer as well.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you.
And I also loved how your music teacher just took it and ran with it. And the video of the kids doing like actions and making up actions. I know we were going to make a music video for it. And these guys really want to be in it. These are my space invaders. But I think even better was the idea of kids coming up with their own actions for it. And I think we talked about using this as a song for phys ed, because if you were doing all the actions and spinning around and stuff like that and jumping, then it would maybe count for phys ed. Plus you need that big area of space to spread out like a gymnasium.
Yeah.
So I think this will work for gym and music, and just kids need SEL songs out of anything. I love these SEL books that are coming out, and now the SEL songs. It's super important, because if you can start them out okay on the right leg, then they're going to get along with lots of people and learn how to deal with lots of different situations, because they'll have already sung about it. And it's been proven, if you sing about it, you probably will remember it.
That's right. That's right. That's the beauty of music. Yeah.
Tani.
Yeah.
Hey, Tani.
Yeah.
Weren't you writing some songs recently?
Besides the theme song for PBJamz, besides that one, I mean, yeah, I dabble. I dabble. I wrote some stuff for church when we were attending and working with the worship team. So I wrote a few pieces there. So I have some spiritual stuff, and I have Matt Forrest Essenwine, his book I Am Today had really I got an advanced copy of that because he sent it to me for us to do a story walk, which we just installed at the museum near us, and it's wonderful. If you haven't read I Am Today, that's another really fabulous book. And so those words really inspired me. So I'm dabbling with that one. I have some, and I don't, that's one thing I've been talking with Annie about, is like, how do I go about doing this? Because I have all these like little bits and pieces, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do and not do. Yeah.
This one I took out to the woods, and I got like 3/4 of the way through just playing like a simple little 1-4-5-1 progression. His words flow like they need to be song lyrics.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he has no idea. He's a songwriter.
A poet at heart. Yeah, he is.
It.
I was messaging him a while back and saying, well, I'd love to have you on PBJamz if any of yours kind of have a musical. He's like, a musical connection? I don't think so. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Let's just surprise him. I'll finish mine, you finish yours, and we'll just do an interview where he basically looks, he'll look like that.
Yeah, we'll tag team him. Yeah, totally. Well,
I have another question.
Okay.
You know me, I always interrupt. I was wondering, so it seems like some authors are writing their own songs as well now. And I know I've heard Dawn Prohavnik, who I worked with, she says there are a lot of frustrated songwriters that are authors that would love to be a songwriter. So I'm hoping to find them. But do you find, besides Tara Trudell, do you find any other people doing, hello, shh. Besides, right on the set. Besides Tara, I was wondering if you were finding more people doing this, that we could be a group or encourage people to do this.
That's a great idea. And I know somebody had messaged you on Twitter or commented in something.
Right, I have her name.
Yeah. So Stina Hernandez, she's kind of recently been really active in the Kidlit community on Twitter, and she actually toured with Rent, a production, I know, right? As a vocalist, she toured with Rent, and she did a couple of other really cool musical things. And so, and she's now pursuing Kidlit. So I think she would definitely be one that might want to be included in that. And then Nancy Stewart, I ran across her. I think I asked you about her. She's a songwriter and has been for a very long time, and she has also a huge website of free. I love people that make stuff available for free, right? Like, just because that to me says their heart is for the kids and for the
Exactly.
teachers. And so she has just a fabulous website, and all of her songs, like most of yours and maybe all of yours, Annie, that are just free, for people to use. And like, she's even got lead sheets and stuff, on her website. And so, I mean, she writes some of her own stuff. So, I don't know that she does Kidlit per se, but, she might be a good one to contact as well. And I don't know. I'd have to think and maybe look back, but those are a couple that come to mind straight off the bat. And then of course Tara, yeah, she's wonderful. I just interviewed her just a few days ago, and we had a nice chat. And so I'm going to have her stuff on later in the month.
Yeah, she did a good book song. I heard it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So I'm just loving all the connections that I'm making with, just with everybody, and PBJamz too. Like, somebody had said, oh, you should like monetize that, and you should like require membership, and I'm like, that's not what I want to do. Like, that's not the purpose of this. The purpose is to help. And I personally, as a teacher, don't like those things where, they'll tease you with a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and then, oh, well, if you become a member, then, I mean, I get it, that's how they're making their money, and okay, fine, but that's not what I want to do. What I want to do is just help, because I mean, I've been that newer teacher, I'm 24 years in now, but I've been that newer teacher, or that teacher that got shifted to a new grade level or a new subject area that is not your area of strength, and so that's my hope. And then the hope also is just these connections, like you guys getting connected, author and musician, and teacher and author, and so that's,
And we had a lot personally too that's very similar. So it was more of a therapy session too. Every time we'd work, and then we talk about life, and we've just got lots of similarities. So
yeah,
it was meant to be.
yeah, I call those God things. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jewish people call it beshert.
Yeah.
It was destined.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to also, Tani, I want to bring up the fact that I am blown away by the amount of work that you've done for PBJamz. And I'm not just talking about the interview part. Your blog has it's broken down step by step by step. And if you don't like this, then you can try this, and you can try this. And you've got cooking. I mean, your words, as I was singing the words, I thought, she's not really going to do all you do. And it's fabulous, and it's long, and it's comprehensive. And I heard so many times teachers say, I'm not a musician, I don't know what to do or how to do it. You have given teachers no excuse not to use a book and a song together, and you've told them how to do it. And there are recordings that literally all they have to do, I was going to say, put the record on. Yeah, I'm old. All they have to do is turn it on,
Yeah.
and play it, and they don't have to sing. So I'm begging teachers, please help put the arts, especially music, back into education where it's been taken away.
Yeah, all the arts are so important. And this is like my strength. Like, this is one of the things that I really love doing, is finding all these cool resources and how they connect together. Like, I would have been a great curriculum writer, because but also, like, I think very thematically, and that's always been the case for me. And one of the things that I disliked about the classroom the last few years was everything was going more textbook driven and more even like scripted curriculum. And to me, that's, I mean, I want to be careful how I say that.
Teaching to the
So,
test. They're teaching to the test. I don't care. I'm
well,
going to say it.
it's just,
And they don't want to be.
no, many of them don't. But you know, if you're trained, like I don't know, like they wouldn't give a doctor or a lawyer a scripted manual to say this is what you say to the patient when this is what happens, or this is what you, like they wouldn't do that. They trust their professionalism. And I just feel like in education, we're not trusted as much as we should be if we've been trained. I mean, I have a master's degree in early childhood education. I'm nationally board certified. Then let me just do my job, you know, and every teacher is different. And so I think every teacher brings their strengths to the classroom. And for me, that strength is integration and making these connections, right? That's how I think, and it's how I teach best. It's how I teach music too. And it's not how everybody, and probably not even the best way to teach music, maybe, but it's just my way. It's the only way I know. So, you know, I am definitely a whole child educator and always have been. And so because of that, it just really lends itself well to something like this, because I love science and I love reading and I love writing, and I don't love math, but I mean, everybody can, I don't. But even when I was teaching second grade, they would say, oh, you need to be this math interventionist. And I'm like, I need to be a what? Because like, that's not something that's ever been in my vocabulary. But they said, you just approach it so well, taking it kind of step by step and speaking in a way the kids can understand it, which that's how I wish somebody had taught me math, because that's why I'm not a math person, because I never understood it. And so anyway, I just say that to say it's very integrated, because that's how I think and that's how I teach. And in music, I mean, it's nothing. In fact, my principal came in to observe me last week, and I thought, oh, snapdragons, because like there was no big heavy musical content. Like we were doing sign language and singing about rainbows and learning the colors in the proper order. We were Roy G. Biven, and we were and I'm like, oh, I hope she thinks, I mean, you know, like I'm teaching them tons of stuff, and there's music all throughout every bit of that. But you know, if somebody's wanting a really heavy duty music content teacher, I'm not your person, you know, like
But that's like the most beautiful thing, because you're teaching them kinesthetically, you're touching on like color and science while they're singing. Like you have integrated all of that. And I think being able to include, like to explore and include things you're curious about is such a beautiful thing in the classroom.
yeah.
That shows kids know when you're passionate
Yeah.
about what you're doing,
Yeah.
they totally get into it with you.
Yeah. And they'll remember that those are the memorable
Remembering.
times.
That's true
You know,
too.
I am blessed to teach in a private school where I can teach almost anything I want to teach, and we get to like teach to the kids' blisses, and you know, I get to see them. My school is a school for diverse learners, so some of my kids really struggle in different content areas, but the arts, like the talent that I see and the beauty in that and the way it raises their self-esteem, like I'm so thankful every day to be in a school where music is part of it. Theater, you know, like they are able to be smart in whatever way they are smart and talented and gifted, and then they get to take that confidence into the classroom in the areas where they struggle and get support there too. It's just, I mean, that's whole child, you know what I mean? Like that's supporting the kid for who they are, and that's beautiful. And you're doing exactly the same thing. You're inspiring these kids, and they're never going to forget that.
You know, we hope not. That's why we do what we do, right, Jolene? I mean, and Annie, you too. I mean, you were in the classroom for years, and even though you're not in the classroom now, you're still bringing that love of music to, I mean, so many kids, more than you ever could have touched in the classroom by yourself alone. Like you have all these kids now that you're touching, plus the ones that you're bringing close to the studio. I know right now you're not bringing them in, but hopefully soon. But then those,
Working on it.
yeah, more individually, one-on-one with those. And that's just fabulous. The stuff that they're learning with you, with the recording and the technology and the looping and coding, and man,
I didn't even see that one coming. I truly did not see that coming. I heard this little 7-year-old voice, she had just finished recording, and I hear her go, well, could I see what my voice looks like? And he was like, oh, sure, come on over. And she just sat down. And then, he was like, oh, would you like to try editing? And she was like, oh, he's like, oh, don't worry, we can fix it if you make a mistake. And he taught them, and they had already been studying loops and coding. So it was just one more place that it was applied. So that was fantastic. So now we actually do part of the mixing with the kids before they leave. We let them do a little bit of engineering.
So cool. Ditto, yes.
It was. Now we're trying to do something like, I just saw a school choir that recorded last fall in their cars, and they had the sound guy had his PA system there, and then there were microphones in the car, and they had like pillows there, like in the car around to absorb some of the sound. And the kids sang their part, and the guy was remotely recording them. Excuse me, I invaded your space, sorry. And so he just recorded them, and it was successful. So I'm wondering if we can do something like that, or I may go back to what we did for when we were mixing Zombies Don't Eat Veggies by Studio Lucero. We had to use my sunroom, and we had like all the doors closed except for one to let some air in. And only the sound man was allowed in the room to do the mixing. And we had like our ears like up to the crack trying to hear. So yeah, we've got to get something going, because I miss working with kids. And you're right about the self-esteem. The kids that I get to work with, they are average, normal kids who like to sing. I don't look for child superstars. I look for kids with good ears, because if they can have a good ear, they will be able to sing the note, and I'll be able to fix it up a little better, when we're mixing and stuff, and make it sound stronger. But if they're not on pitch, they're not on pitch. So I've been really, really fortunate to have kids that are interested and involved. And every kid that I use, always, they get paid, they get a letter of reference.
Oh, no.
And that's important to them, because a lot of them want to go on to not just be on Broadway, but I mean, they want to be in different theater stocks, and they need letters of reference. And so I am happy to write it. And I've got a couple kids that Tani, I can just tell them, can you sing a third above? And they just do it. It's like awesome. I didn't even have to give it. I give them like do, and they just find the me, and it's like, so they're so talented. So that's I'm awesome. Really looking forward to working with the kids.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is there anything that I haven't touched? I mean, you guys have done such a great job of just having this conversation. Is there anything that I haven't asked, or that you guys have not talked about, especially regarding Mac and Cheese and the Personal Space Invader and the Space Creator song? Is there anything else that you want to make sure we share? Look at Annie. Hands up. Go ahead, Annie.
Jolene, do you remember the statistic we found of out of children that are nonverbal, autistic nonverbal children, was it like 33% of nonverbal children enjoy singing?
That sounds right to me.
It was like a third. Like,
I'm so bad with numbers.
I know it was something that the numbers shocked us.
Yeah, it was a large number. Yeah, and
that's why we think our song will work.
That kids like music, and give them this out. Like, one of my not quite yet announced books is about my own sensory processing issues and my daughter's, and sound can be overwhelming sometimes. So, like we can try to give kids an out, like if this is too loud, too overwhelming, but most of the kids want to be there, want to be part of it. And yeah, I think it was a third, like you said.
It was surprising, and it was the same reason that people who have a stroke can sing, but they can't speak. Two completely different sides of the brain. I think it was the right side for music, maybe. I can't remember, but one of the sides is for music and the other is for speech. And so when you are singing, you're not using your language center, and yet it helps develop the language center. So the whole thing is really, really cool. Tani has tons of information on that, and I have some too. If people are interested, I post it like weekly on my Twitter feed. I'll put a new article that I found, or my favorite one from University of Minneapolis, which just totally dove into the reasons why music should be used with literacy, and they nailed it.
Yeah. And, it almost seems like a no-brainer. I mean, we've laughed about, I think Jolene, it was you and me laughing about Schoolhouse Rock the other day, and how, like, that's how I learned the preamble to the Constitution.
I'm just a bill up on Capitol Hill.
I mean, I grew up, showing my age here, but I grew up with those songs, and, conjunction, junction, what's your function? And there's all those songs still. Not only do I remember the songs, but I remember a lot of the content that those songs taught. And so, music and the arts just in general, for some kids it is music, for some kids it's art, and it's being able to put things on the paper and using color. And, for some kids it's, it's drama and just being able to, act it out. And even physical activity. We, kinesthetic learners have been in the news for a really long time. That's nothing new. But there are kids that just, that just need to move. But yeah, I think the arts are like super important. And so matching up music to these books is just a phenomenal way to get kids involved. And the call and response, we were doing one this week. I've been using my shaker eggs this week for coming up on Easter. And we were doing, do you know Laurie Berkner, Annie? Do you know?
Of course.
So we were
godmother of kindy music.
We were doing I Know a Chicken, and she laid an egg, and it's a call and response song. And the kids are just immediately drawn into that. And they're, you don't have to tell them, okay, she's going to sing and then you're going to sing. They just automatically do it. If you give them the space to do that, if you're a space creator and you create the space for them to sing, then they're going to do
beautiful.
That. Yeah.
And they don't have to know how to read, and they don't, it's just, you just repeat after me, it's so inviting. I love that you use that format.
Yeah.
Annie, for me with Mac and Cheese, I just wanted to mention on my website, I have some teacher resources, book trailer, a link to our song. So
yes.
I, as a teacher, I always appreciate any resources that help me enrich my lessons. So I'm trying to provide those with the books that I'm creating as well.
Yeah. And I love that. And I'll link all that up below, so it'll be all in one place. I'll link up Jolene's website and some of that good content that she's got. And we're going to link up the song as well in that little section. So we're going to have everything that teachers need to teach this book and everything that goes with it down below.
And I still have an extra thumb drive of my songs for schools. So if you want to advertise or give that away, I would be glad to send that to a teacher.
Awesome. I will.
Or a homeschooler too.
Gotcha. Yep. They're teachers too. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So you have your puppets out. Do they want to say hi?
Oh, I just wanted to encourage people to use puppets because they're very fun. But aside from the fact that they're very fun, if you can get kids to not be in their face, one way you can teach them physical space, I can't demonstrate right here, but when I work with kids and I hire them as puppeteers, we have two problems. One is that we're too close to each other and we need our personal space. But there are times that they have to be like this. So I have behind the scenes pictures of like me like laying like this and a kid over me like this, and it looks like Twister. But anyway, I think that puppets really encourage kids to come out of their shell, and then they can make little videos and sing. And, you know, I think you're very nice. I think you're very nice. In fact, I'd say it twice. So I don't know why they made this guy look like Cookie Monster, but anyway. So these are my aliens. So thank you very much for having us. We had a great time, and keep putting out the amazing content that you're putting out, Tani. When you came along and announced what you were doing, I was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just a real relief.
Well, thank you.
We will show the publishing world that songs have so many different applications, and there are very creative ways to finance them. So give us a call.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. I love you both.
Thank you so much. Love you.
We love you too.
PBJamz, yummy books and music. PBJamz, reading, writing, teaching. PBJamz, what a yummy treat. Jamming PBs all the time. PBJamz, jams, jams, jams. Picture books and jams. We'll see you next time.